Hey everybody, this is Jamie Steelman with Team Steelman Mortgage. Thanks for joining us today. We have a very special guest in studio that you're going to love hearing from. She's a local real estate expert with Action Homes, and her name is Blair Arvidson. Thanks for being here today, Blair. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So we're going to jump into some things that we usually talk about, which is business, of course, with Team Steelman Mortgage, but we're also going to talk a little bit about life, family, and make sure that you know there are people out there in your community that definitely are there for you for your business needs, but also just if you need somebody to talk to and you want to kind of know what other people have been through. So we're going to jump in and just tell us a little bit again about what you do, why you love it, why you chose that profession.
Okay. I am a residential realtor. I have been, this is my 7th year. It's actually something that I wanted to do for many years and checked into it quite a few years, and it just, life circumstances did not allow. And so 7 years ago, I decided to get my license. And actually, to be completely transparent here, I was going through a divorce and decided to start a 100% commission only career. So I took a loan out so that I could get my license and
Really?
So I could live for a few months. I was very ambitious. I was like, I can make it for 6 months. Surely I'll have a sale in 6 months.
Yeah. Wow. That's going all in.
Well, I knew I had to hit the ground running. So, and when I had looked at jobs, 9 to 5 wasn't going to work for me because I was a single mom then, and my kids were still young. I was driving them 20 miles one way because they were going to Eagleville at the time. So there was no way I could do a job 9 to 5 and be the mom that I wanted to be. So, plus, honestly, it was hard. It was going to be hard to find something that I would make enough money to support us with.
Sure.
And so since I had always loved real estate and really and truly had checked into it quite a few times, I thought, well, I'm just going to try it. Why not?
Yeah.
And so I did, got the loan. And I think I did actually have my first sale like right at 6 months. Of course, that wasn't enough to keep going.
Yeah.
But and it was right before I got my license in 2019. So it's 6 years, I guess.
Yeah.
And so right before COVID. That was interesting.
So you hit the ground running with a very different time in the world.
It was different. So it was tough because I was still doing open houses to try to find, clients and I had gotten a few, but then basically in 2020 it was like, for me, I was just at home. So that was tough. But then, of course, as you know, things changed with the market, and it was a boom after that. And I've done a little bit of everything. I mean, I love working with first-time home buyers, but I've also worked with a couple of builders and mostly, like I said, mostly residential. I've done a few land deals and a couple of commercial, but my focus is residential, and I love it. I do. I truly do, and I can't imagine anything else that I could have done and still been the mom I wanted to be and be able to provide for the three of us. So it's worked out.
That's really cool. I didn't even know that part.
Really?
I knew like how long you had been in roughly.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that it was literally one of those moments that people talk about when it's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a loan. I can do this. I believe in myself. I'm going for it.
Yes.
That's such a cool story.
Yes. And I was so worried. Everybody was like, if you don't pass it the first time, you can take it again. A lot of people do. And I was just honestly, I feel like it was a God thing because so many things fell in place when I looked online to find out when the classes were. I know myself. I wasn't going to do it online. I was going to go in person. So I looked, and Trees was offering the class starting the following week. And then it was just like one thing after another just fell in place. And then they said it's going to be a couple months before you get in to take your test. And I could get in like the next week after I finished the class. And then I ended up, I passed it the first time, which I was so relieved. And I kept watching these people when I was taking my test. They were just getting up and leaving. And I thought, oh no, either they're not nearly as excited as I'm going to be if I pass, or they're all failing.
One of the two.
Yeah, because I wanted to jump up and down.
Yeah, that's crazy. Wow, that is a really cool story. So when you talk about going into that as a mom, tell me a little bit about your family.
So I have 2 kids. They're older now.
Yeah.
My daughter's 21 and my son is 18. He is a senior. So he's planning on joining the military next year.
Boy.
So I'm getting kind of nervous about that. But I have much more ability to go and sell now because, they can drive and do their own things. But we moved up here. I moved up here from Georgia. I'm from Georgia, and my kids have always been here. And soon after, right before I got divorced, my dad, we moved my grandparents up here. Who were 93 and 95 at the time.
Wow.
And then my dad and stepmom moved up, and he was very helpful through through the divorce and then afterwards. So once I did get busy, he would pick the kids up from school every day, and
Awesome.
and that was a huge help.
Yeah.
So now it's just that they have all passed away, actually. So it's just the my two kids and I, and here in Murfreesboro, and I guess it's home now.
Yeah. And they're getting older. I mean, 21 and 18 is not. It's grown, but there's still, there's still a lot. We have a 23-year-old still at home, and everybody else is out on their own. But, they kind of come and go for a little while. They're dependent. Some of them are more independent than others. But it's interesting to watch them go through that, like the stage you're in now. 18, get out of high school, decide what they want to do or not do, and go back and forth and all that kind of fun stuff.
Yes. My 21-year-old is kind of still trying to figure out what she wants to do.
Yeah.
My son has always had his plan in place since he was a little guy. I thought it was a phase, but clearly it's not. He has not outgrown it. So he's, laser focused. My daughter, not so much.
Yeah.
She's still at home, and I'm fine with that. She keeps me company, but,
with us having 6, with our blended family, we've had a little bit of everything. I mean, we've had, a daughter that knew every day of her life planned out from like the time she was like 13, and it's kind of went exactly that way until she started having kids and stuff. And now she's kind of like, okay, let's see what I want to do with career. But I mean, knew the college she wanted to go to freshman year of high school.
Oh, wow.
And ended up going to that college, going to, that kind of stuff. And then another son that's like, I'm done with high school. And one thing I know is I don't want to sit in another classroom. Like, I don't want to do college. I mean, he actually got accepted into a couple schools and then told me, in July of the summer he was going to college, he was like, I'm going to be honest, Dad. I know I haven't said a lot of these kind of things to you, but I'm only going to college because you want me to.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, we need to talk, and it was a huge awakening for me because I was like, thank God he felt comfortable enough to tell me that now before he goes and hates it. But, it was just like, he's like, I don't want to do this. And I'm like, well, the last thing I want you to do is start your life out doing something you don't want to do. In today's world, there's so many different options. It's, it's not do or die if you don't go the path that we think you have to go.
Well, I'm curious. So how did you handle that? Because honestly, I've had that conversation with both my kids because I went to college. It wasn't where was I going? I mean, was I going? It was where was I going? It was kind of just expected. And so I just assumed my kids would be the same way, and neither of them are.
Yeah.
My daughter was going to go, and then life happened and she wasn't able to, and now she's trying to figure out. But with my son, and it kills me, he has a 3.9 GPA.
Get in basically anywhere he wants to go.
He could. I know. I mean, he's had 1B in high school, 1B. And I'm like, if I had those grades.
Yeah, me too.
And so, but he does want to go, but he's hoping to go to flight school, and he has his plans. And so he wants to go to college once he's already in the military, which is great. Yeah. But it has been, as a mom, I've had to get used to that. So you were okay with it when he said he didn't want to go?
I mean, internally, probably not a lot at first, but I got used to it. And, he was my middle boy. And so my oldest son went to school for a little while and didn't really want to be there. He didn't really vocalize it to me at first, but didn't want to be there. And so it just didn't work out. He ended up coming back home, moving in with his friends and starting his career. And that was Ryan that passed away. But he didn't love it. He was all, not there for the right reasons. And then Nick, my stepson, went straight into the military, after high school. Literally 2 weeks after his graduation date, he shipped out. Wow. And his dad was in the military and was a recruiter until he retired. So lifelong military. So we got to experience that. And then Jordan came along, who told me he didn't want to go. And at first I was just kind of like, and then his initial thought was, I'm going to take a gap year. I'm going to take a year where I just work, because he worked all through high school. He's always kind of been my super independent, just entrepreneur, all that kind of stuff. He has an Airbnb now, and he runs a couple of side businesses with farm fresh eggs and chickens. Like he's always been that way, always done that kind of stuff. But when he came to me and said that, I was just like, if you take a year off, you're never going to go. I can tell you that. And he's like, man, people take gap years all the time. I'm like, yeah, in Europe. Like, it's a thing over there, but for some reason here, I feel like if you don't go now, you're not going to go. And he's like, oh, I'm definitely going. I'm going back. That's
what my daughter did. She did the gap year, and she still hasn't gone back.
Yeah. And so I think about 6 months into that year that, his gap year, he told me, I don't want to do school. And I'm like, that's fine. I'm like, you're working, you're making decent money. As long as you're being productive and you want to keep pushing forward, you don't have to have your life figured out at 21.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't. So many people
is young.
it's so young. I mean, I think people say our brains aren't fully developed till like 26
Yeah,
or something,
exactly,
you know?
exactly.
So how are we supposed to know what we want to do for the rest of our lives at 20?
I know.
So yeah, it took me a little bit of getting used to. And then it was funny because then the two younger ones, Gabby and Baylor, both went to school. Gabby, because she planned out her whole life and knew exactly what she wanted to do. And then Baylor, they kept telling him, if you want to keep playing baseball, you got to go to class. So he was like, well, I guess I'll go to class.
Whatever it takes.
Because people used to ask him, like his high school counselor, we had a meeting and she was like, what do you want to do, you know, when you get out of school? And he's like, I want to play baseball. And she's like, yeah, but like, if that doesn't work out, what do you want to do? And he's like, he just always shrugged his shoulders. Like he picked his major in college, like his second junior year, because of COVID, he had an extra year.
Okay.
So like during that, like, season before he graduated, he's like, I don't know, accounting seems really easy to me. Like the professor came to him and said, you know, you've got a B in my class, and I have, I don't know, a couple hundred students, and he's only like 2% of our people have a B or higher.
Oh, wow.
And Baylor was just like, I don't know, it's just kind of easy. And so that's how he chose his major. And
sounds like that's a good one. I mean,
yeah.
you know,
Well,
easy accounting is not easy for a lot of people.
But you say that, but the funny part is he works for Cardinal Health in logistics. So his degree has nothing to do with what he's doing now, but he's got the degree.
Yeah.
And it's still good. And he played 5 years of baseball and got an accounting degree for free.
Wow.
So
good for him.
the dream of what the sport was actually meant to be for. He didn't play Major League Baseball, but it got him a degree, and he loved it. So
yeah, that's awesome.
And then Willa, our youngest, also, you know, she went to hair school. So she went to Paul Mitchell, and she's cutting hair and doing cosmetology. And
I remember that she had gone to school for that because didn't she take over?
Yeah. She took over my father-in-law, my late father-in-law's shop in Green Hills. So they've been open about 2 years, and she's been kind of learning on the job how to, just have a real job of cutting hair. And Stacy's walking her through, you know, running a business at the same time. So it's been a lot for a 21-year-old to kind of figure out.
That is a lot.
But huge opportunity that not a lot of people get to learn. So
Absolutely.
There's both sides of it.
Yeah, to have a place to go ahead and get started, a place that's already been in business for a while. That's awesome. Yeah.
So long story short, going through all of my kids, it was weird at first because I just thought like you did. I thought, you know, we've got y'all set up to do this. Your grades are good. We got all 6 kids through high school. So even statistically speaking for that, it sounds crazy. We kind of joke. We're like, but if you look at statistics, even getting all 6 of them out of high school is pretty big, pretty big accomplishment. So they're there, and some went to school, some didn't. And we just realized like, the biggest thing I kept coming back to was like, you're so young. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life when I was 21. And I sure wouldn't have predicted this. Like, I know I'll be a mortgage loan officer. I didn't even know what that was.
Right.
So.
No, I didn't either at that age. I mean, I knew what a realtor was, but not a mortgage loan officer.
But a lot of people don't know what we do. Anyways, I still have family members that think I'm a realtor.
Oh, that's funny.
They're like, you sell houses, right? I'm like, no. I mean, I work with people that sell houses, but I sell money, basically.
That's funny. You do.
Sometimes people just don't pay attention to it. They're just like, you do something in real estate, which means you must sell houses. Or they see like the congratulations on buying your house.
Oh,
so they're just like, oh, he must have sold them a house.
Makes sense. But they're putting 2 and 2 together, just not the right 2.
Yeah. I'm like, we're family. You should know this. But are you going to call me if you buy a house? That's what I need to know.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So speaking of that, kind of, why do you have your license where it is, and what do you love about that place?
Well, so like I said, I was with a couple of builders, and I'd learned a ton with those builders because I learned a lot about the building process, and that was a great experience. And I had to field a lot of calls, and so that was a great experience as well. But when I moved over to Action Homes with Amy, I just love Amy, of course, because she is what you see is what you get, and I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah.
I like to be around people that you can be yourself around and that you can trust and that are good people. And I feel like Amy is. It's a great group. It's not a huge group, but I don't know. It feels comfortable.
Yeah.
And I've had opportunities there as well that I probably wouldn't have had other places. So cool. I've met, I've known most of the agents, but some of them I haven't known, just through business. But It's a very laid back, comfortable place to be.
Yeah. I've heard that a lot. I mean, like, I love Amy because
Mm-hmm.
she's straightforward. And when I get to talk to her, it's always great. But I've always heard other people say that if they're talking about action, they're usually like, I just love Amy. Like,
Yeah.
there's like, she's
You
who
do.
she is. Like,
She is. She is. She doesn't pretend to be anybody else, and she's going to shoot you straight, and that's important. That's very important to me because I feel like in any industry you're going to deal with the opposite.
Yeah.
And so it's just refreshing to have somebody that's just who she is, who she says she is.
And y'all are very well established. Action's been around for a while.
Yes. Miss Lee had it for 50 years, I think,
Yeah.
and she's still around too. She still comes in almost every single day.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. So I know you mentioned just a little bit about like first-time home buyers and like that kind of stuff. What's your ideal client or your favorite part about real estate? Buying, selling? Is it a little bit of everything, or what really like gets you up in the morning going, I can't wait to do this?
So one thing I love, and this is probably what I love the most, is that you start a project and you get to see it to completion, meaning you start working with a client, and whether it's a buyer or a seller, you have a goal in mind, and then you get to work really hard on that particular, and then you come to a closing. And it's like, it's a feeling of accomplishment. I remember when I was home with my kids doing the day-to-day, just clothes and laundry, food, and it felt like I never was finished. I was never achieving anything. So with real estate, you're constantly, you're achieving, you're accomplishing things.
Yeah.
So I love that I get to change with with different people, and every transaction is different. I mean, really, there aren't two that are alike. I tend to find the ones that are complicated, and that's what my title company says as well. So,
So it must be.
so it must be true. But I've never turned away from a challenge, so I don't mind that a bit. I love first-time home buyers because it's just exciting. It's so exciting. They just appreciate it, and then they're so just almost amazed that they've purchased this big, that's a huge purchase.
That they've done it.
That they've done it, yeah. And I love guiding them through that. Sometimes you forget what I guess we take for granted, the things that we need to know when you're buying a house. Like, this is what the process is going to be. Once we put an offer in, we have to wait and we're going to hear back. And then once we go under contract, we've got to get an inspection, and you've still got to make sure that you're, pre-approval first before you even show the house.
So me and Steve were just talking about a little while ago. It is a process.
It is.
Like, we want everybody to understand out there that everybody can do it. And it's not a complicated process that you should be scared of, but it is a process. There is, like you said, there's a start, and there's all the different, and there's, sometimes there's little veers off the road. Like, okay, we got to figure this out. Let's get back here.
Sure.
Let's get back here. And at the end, it's all worth it. But it is a process.
Yeah.
It is a process.
It is. And it's always great when you have, honestly, first-time home buyers always listen. They really do. You know, I mean, and I'm putting myself in this category too. Some of us who have owned homes previously, it's sometimes harder because we think we already know what we're doing, and so, but I love any aspect of it. I really do. New construction is fun. I love that. First time home buyers, I've got some that are downsizing, I really can't complain. It just kind of keeps it interesting to change, have different clients.
I think that this is not related to real estate at all, but I think it's so interesting what you said, because I've had conversations with my wife, Stacy, who you know.
Yeah.
And I had trouble understanding exactly what she was saying. And when I heard you say it out loud, I all of a sudden went back to a conversation we had, and I'm like, man, maybe that's when sometimes she'll be down a little bit, and I'll just say, like, what's going on? And she's like, nothing really. And then the other day she's like, just sometimes, like, I get up, I do all the laundry, I clean, I pick up our granddaughter Olivia from school, run her wherever, if she's staying with us that day, or she's staying with mom and dad, or, just helping out like your dad would do or whatever. And then she's like, and then I get up the next day and I'm like, I'm doing that. Like, there's not a, like you said, there's not a beginning and an end.
There's not a end in sight.
And that's what she was talking about. She's like, I just need to get out and do some stuff sometimes. Cause she's like, sometimes I get stuck in the house just doing the same thing over and over. And there's no sense of accomplishment. I think it's like what you were just saying. And that's so huge to me. Like, that's like a revelation. Trying to listen to what she was talking about.
Well, thank you. You're welcome, Stacy. You don't have to thank me. You can thank me later. No, it's true. I love being home with my kids, but that was the challenge for me, was just feeling like I was never getting on top of things. Is how I felt.
She'll talk about, like, before we got married, before she moved back here, she ran a dance studio. She taught like ballet and tap and for kids. And so she had a business. So I'm sure that's the sense of like, you open the doors in the morning, the kids come at night, you have your classes.
Yes.
So it's, your ongoing business, but I'm sure you have that sense of like we're talking about where you start a project and you finish a project.
Absolutely.
You go through the whole season, you have the recital. Yeah. So I think sometimes she just misses that. But then also I think it's got to get in your head of like, yeah, I'm just kind of doing the same thing over and over and over. And yeah, I'm doing all the laundry and now it's all dirty again. This is real fun. I'm sure
it's never finished. But I mean, in hindsight, I can see this because my kids are older now, and I'm sure Stacy has had times like this too. It's all worth it, obviously. And it is a huge blessing to be able to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And
so,
she loves that part of it.
Yeah.
Just, I think when we have those conversations, sometimes I hadn't thought about it that way before. And I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't? Yeah. And it's just like, it doesn't have that kind of beginning and end.
Yeah,
so sometimes you just need to get out and do something different to kind of just, feel motivated and to feel that accomplishment. So
for sure.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Well, tell her if she ever wants to start anything, I'm playing pickleball now.
Are you really?
Yes.
Is, and we have not played, and we've had a couple of people tell us, especially one of my sons, Baylor, him and his fiance play all the time now with friends, and they're like, you just got to do it. And we just haven't done it yet.
It's so much fun.
Okay. It's so addicting.
It really is.
Okay.
It really is. I never thought that I would be a pickleball player, but I am. Like have, my own paddle and a couple of paddles, like a legit.
Big time. Yeah. Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm still a beginner. You show very much a beginner.
You show up with a bag to the
court?
Like
yes. I show up with a bag. The first couple of days I didn't, and I was like, okay, I look ridiculous. I've got so much in my hands. But no, I took a class, and then Amber, the girl that taught the class, she was realizing, she kept saying, well, you guys are ready to go play, just go play. Well, nobody was going to play because we were all intimidated.
Oh gosh.
And so, I mean, you don't want to show up to a bunch of players that have played, So she finally created a group chat for everybody that went through her class. And so we started communicating through that, and we would just set up times to meet. So we were all beginners.
Yeah.
And it has been such a blast. I mean, when I say I'm playing, I've only been playing for maybe 6 months. So this is new. Yeah. This is new. We are all still beginners, but it has been so much fun because none of us knew each other at all. And we've gotten to know each other, and we just, when you're available, you go, it's great. It
That's
really
fun.
is.
That's fun. Okay. You're probably at least the 10th person that's talked about how insanely fun it is. So we're going to have to play pickleball at some point and get out there.
Well, just know y'all can come play with us because we're beginners.
Yeah.
So
I mean, 6 months though, we'll probably look silly out there.
No. Well, we're always adding in new people that are taking from her, taking her class. So there's always beginners in there. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
No, I'm serious when I say that. I mean, yes, I know how to play the game now, but like I wouldn't play against somebody that is intermediate.
You're not going on like the ESPN national tour?
Not yet. Okay. Not yet. Maybe next year.
Gotcha. Reserve a spot. She's coming.
Just in case.
That's awesome. I did want to talk just a little bit before we run out of time. I wanted to talk a little bit about some stuff you shared with me. About, you said everybody's kind of gone now except you and your kids. Mm-hmm. And I know it hasn't been that long ago since your dad passed.
Yeah.
And I've always, I share a lot about my family and going through the loss of our son. But kind of, what was that like for you, kind of going through that? Obviously, you were close with your dad, and I'm sure probably other family members too. Mm-hmm. But I know it was unexpected to lose your dad. So if you're open to telling just a little bit about kind of what you went through with that.
Absolutely. Yes. I will say it was the hardest thing I have ever experienced. I know everybody expects to lose a parent. That's the natural way progression, I guess, but certainly not in the way that it happened. I was always a daddy's girl. Always. He had 2 girls, my sister and me, and so I was kind of the little boy he never had. I would, go hunting with him and be out at the farm with him, and I was kind of a tomboy, and so we were always close. I mean, he was close to both my sister and I, but he was always there if we needed something. And just like when I got a divorce, he was the one that picked the kids up, and he was just he's always there. Yeah. I don't want to leave out my mom. My mom is in Columbia, and she and my stepdad are great, and but they're in Columbia. And so, my dad moved up from Florida to be close to us. And I thought, wow, this is wonderful. My dad's here. We're moving my grandparents. Everybody's coming up here. This is going to be a new home.
Yeah.
And it was for a little while. But he moved we found him a house. We were looking forever. He wanted some land because we used to have a farm down in Georgia, and he sold that. So we're just going to do a 1031 exchange, real estate. And so he was looking for something with some land, and we found him a place in Woodbury. And He did all the things. He was still doing the tractors and the four-wheelers and the side-by-sides. And, you know, it was really good to see him out and about again. Because when he first moved up here, he was in an apartment, and that was not good for him. So just to see him, I remember standing in his house, like one of the first days, and looking outside. He had a big, huge garage, and he was out there just moving limbs. I mean, just, you know, he hadn't even moved in yet.
Yeah.
And I just was like, he's in his element. Like, this
That's
is good,
so cool.
you know? And, and my son got to learn. He would go spend the weekends with him. And that was a huge blessing, because those things he had always wanted to learn, that he had heard about my childhood, shooting guns and riding four-wheelers and all that. He got to do that. He even took his buddies out, and they would go camping out there. So, you know, they got really close. And, anyway, so yes, 2 years ago, I got that call that you just never expect. My stepmom called and said, and I know exactly where I was sitting, where, you know, everything about it. He was under a tractor.
Oh.
And that was all we knew. So the kids and I jumped in the car and drove out to Woodbury. It was extremely traumatic. So long story short, someone had purposely run him off the road while he was driving his tractor.
Oh my gosh.
And it rolled off the mountain and rolled over on him. And you don't know what that's going to be like until you experience it. And I was the last text that he had read that day. I had talked to him for 30 minutes the day before, and I don't want to say too much. I knew there had been an issue, and that anyway, and with a neighbor, and I said, so tell me about it anyway. He ended up on the side of the mountain.
Oh,
and when we got out there were, you know, they had the road blocked off, and there were emergency vehicles everywhere. And I remember it had started raining. I remember standing on the side of that mountain with the rain, and I just thought so many things. That to me, this was a God moment, because I remember thinking so many things had to happen over these past 6 years for him to end up on the side of a mountain right here. You know, like, we don't have control over our future a lot of times. You know, we worry about so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when it comes to the end of the day, we don't know what the plans are for our life.
No. I mean, we don't, like people say, you know, the next second's not guaranteed, which it's not. And when you go through something traumatic like that, whether it's, I mean, whether it's expected and somebody's much, much older or not. I mean, I lost my mom very suddenly.
That's right.
Completely unexpected at 65. And
Yeah,
I mean,
and
some
that's
people
young.
that are 25 would be like, 65 so old. But I mean, as you get older, you're like, 65 is not old.
No, it's
Like,
not old at all.
That's not old. So but you're so right, how we don't control it. It's just, and there's no way to prepare for it.
There's not.
There's not. And, you know, hopefully, you know, you had a few people around you to help you get through that. Because I think what's really hard is one of the hardest parts that we had, and some of the losses that we've had, because, you know, Stacy lost her dad, I lost my mom, I lost Ryan, all in the last, is trying to explain that to your kids. Or if they're old enough to understand it, to help them grieve or kind of go through it. Because, you know, we were just talking about, they don't have their life figured out.
Right.
They have so many emotions at they would have been 16 and 19 probably 2 years ago. So
that's
so
exactly what they were.
They have so much on their mind, and you're trying to watch how they're handling this and also help them through it, but let them process it as well at that age. That's been some of the hardest stuff, is to try to help our kids, but then also let them mature on their own. Well.
That's true. I'm a big fan of counseling. I had a counselor already, and so that, of course, helped me work through the grief process. Both of my kids ended up going to, you know, counselors of their own, and it's been interesting because my daughter she kind of liked she's like me. She likes to talk. She liked going to a counselor. My son,
like getting it all out there. Yeah,
getting it all out. My son, not so much. But after my dad died, I was recognizing some things in him, and I knew he was really, really struggling. And excuse me. And so we got him into one, and he loved him. And matter of fact, he still will go. He makes the appointment on his own and still goes occasionally when he feels. And that's one thing I've learned about grief. It's different for everybody. There's no right or wrong. And I remember people saying that to me, but you never know when it's going to jump up.
Yeah.
You know, you might be completely fine. And I did do some trauma count therapy also
Okay.
just this past spring. My counselor thought that, you know, I had kind of worked through the grief, but the trauma of the actual getting out there before he was out from under the tractor and seeing the tractor pulled out, and, you know, just all of that was awful.
Yeah.
Awful. I mean, it's your
imagine.
dad, you know, and so just the whole 24 hours following that, because then the neighbors were great. They were fantastic. They helped us, but they said, everybody knows what's happened. We've got to get all of his valuables out of this house because they'll rob you blind. So 8:00 the next morning, we're back out at his house, literally moving all of his things out of his house. And so it's just, and locking again, you know, it's just like surreal.
I bet.
You know, you can't even wrap your head around the fact that he's gone, and then you're having to do, you know, and then taking care of his animals. And so it was really just the kids and me. I mean, that it was us, because at that point my stepmother had moved. And so it was literally us taking care of everything, the land. And, you know, I was trying to keep it weeded and mowed, and it's 30 acres. And,
wow.
But I will say my mom and my stepdad were huge help. They came, they even met me at the hospital that night. And, you know, they had been divorced. My parents had been divorced 30 years, but my mom ended up writing his obituary and helping us plan the funeral. And, you know, and really she helped me a ton. He did not realize that he had a whole litter of kittens under his under his porch. They were little bitty, and because he had a couple of barn cats. And so then, so we had about 10 cats to place. Yeah. And that was quite the task. But my mom helped me with that, and moving everything. It was just, it was a lot. It was a lot. But I guess I worked through that so much for the first year. I mean, I was very, very busy, and I was working through the grief, but I guess I had not worked on the trauma, and I didn't realize that.
That's a great point. That's a really great point. Cause I guess that's what I try to express to people when I interview people or talk to people on here is, one, having somebody that, you know, there's usually a couple of people that step up that help you, like you were talking about your mom or stepmom, different people stepping up, and then going to counseling, talking to people, making sure that even in today's world where a lot more people share their emotions than, like, you know, I mean, when I was younger, my dad was very encouraging me to, you know, there's no crying, there's none of that stuff. Just, you're going to be a man. You just keep it quiet. Don't worry. So it doesn't have that stigmatism anymore, but there's still a lot of people that are scared to go to counseling.
Yeah, there are.
There just is. And I mean, we went to some group grief therapy stuff at our church when Ryan first passed away. And we didn't go forever. We went for about 6 months or so, but it opened up so many doors for us. One, for our situation, to realize that we weren't alone. I mean, when you lose a child, you think that no one else has ever been through that trauma at all.
Because it's not how it's supposed. Like I said, with at least the natural process is you expect your parents at some point, but a child, I can't fathom.
But just realizing that other people have dealt with it, whether it's a child or a parent, that's a huge step forward. And then just some of the tools that they gave us, you know, I was so closed off because I was just taught that, you know, you don't go to counseling, you don't go to that kind of stuff. And it's just not a knock on my parents. A lot of people of that generation felt that way, and it's just how I was raised. But Stacy was good enough to get us to encourage me to go. And then I was like really quiet. I was like person like not sharing. And then once I was finally able to share just a little bit, I couldn't believe how much it opened up the possibilities. So that's why I love, you know, a lot of the stuff online now where people are talking about what they're going through and stuff. It's very beneficial.
I agree.
And to let people know that it's okay if you want to talk to somebody about it, whether it's just a friend that's willing to listen or a counselor or somebody. But it's crazy to me. I guess I was a really quiet person growing up, which is so weird that I'm in sales now and talking to people.
And hosting a podcast.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's very strange. But I was just very, very quiet and just internalized everything. So when I realized that I could talk to other people and that helped me as well as helped them, it was just like, boom, just like, you know, ignited all kinds of stuff. So I still deal with grief, which I'm sure you do. When you lose somebody that meant as much, you know, as your dad did, there's always going to be triggers. There's no way that you're, you know, and some crazy people say things like, you know, time heals all wounds and all the kind of, like, I heard the stupidest stuff, and I know people didn't mean it to be stupid, but I heard people say, like, you know, you've got 5 other kids to take care of, You know, that's,
Oh, like what's one? You've
Yeah.
got 5 more.
basically, that's how it's coming across. I'm
Yeah.
sure that's not what they meant when
Sure,
they said it.
sure.
But yeah, they would say things like that, and they're like, or it's been 3 years, or it's been whatever. Like, I'm sorry, but like, there's so many things that every time that happens,
Every
I
time.
can't help it.
Every time.
I love all of my kids so much, but when one of them is getting married or having a baby, I can't help but think like, I always have those moments. I don't share it because I don't want to ruin the moment, but I'm
Sure.
always like, I wonder what Ryan would be like as a dad.
Sure.
I want to know all that so much.
Of course.
And so it's not that you just move on.
No, you
don't
can't.
stop thinking about your dad or
No.
stop thinking about if he still had that land and he was out there and
Right.
the kids were grown and when they have their kids.
Exactly. I mean, Rowan
Yeah.
getting ready to go off into the military. The whole reason Rowan wants to go in the military is because my dad was a helicopter pilot in the
Wow.
Army. And so since a little boy, Rowan has always wanted to do
Yeah.
what Paka did. And so now to see Rowan and how much he has grown and developed just in the past 2 years and
Yeah.
the maturity and, he's taken on leadership roles in ROTC at school. And I'm just, it breaks my heart,
Yeah.
because my dad would be so proud.
Yeah.
He would be so proud.
When he does those things, you wish he was there to be able
Yeah.
to witness it.
Yeah,
So it's-
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. For instance, my dad always wore cargo pants. I mean, it got on everybody's nerves. Like my stepmom couldn't stand it.
That's great.
I mean, I think we counted 50 pairs of cargo pants when he
Yeah.
passed away, but that was his thing. Well, now my son wears cargo pants, because he realizes the pockets are great.
Yeah.
And the other day I was like, I can't believe Paka missed out on you wearing these cargo
Every
pants.
day. Every day. That's so great.
Yeah.
It's something else. Yeah. I mean, you're never, I appreciate you sharing all that with us.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I hope everybody keeps in mind counseling is okay. It is very beneficial for so many things. I mean, I think the divorce rate would go down if people
Absolutely.
stopped and took time to talk to each other and really, let somebody neutral mediate and kind of see where you're at. But we're so quick in this thing to like, oh, you're not happy, move on. And I'm not talking about like, I've been divorced, not talking about you or me.
No,
in
you're right,
particular,
though.
but like, just everybody just moves on to the next thing now. It's just not a big deal. So
Yeah,
I think
you're right.
if everybody just like took a little more time to dig into their feelings and talk about it, you solve a lot of problems.
And to realize too that it takes time, even if you're talking about it, not just 1 or 2 sessions. That's, I think, the biggest mistake some people make is they go and they talk to somebody once or twice and they think they're good.
Yeah.
This is an ongoing process. I mean, like I just mentioned, I did trauma therapy, EMDR.
Yeah.
I didn't do that until this past spring, and
Sure.
my dad passed away in 23.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't. So it was almost 2 years later that I realized, okay, I've still got something that's not. I need to work on this.
Sure.
So that's my, I guess, biggest little plug is that if somebody is willing to go to stick with it for long enough to really feel the benefits, because
Yeah.
it can make a world of difference.
Huge difference. Well, thank you again for sharing all that with us. We really
course.
appreciate it. If somebody does want to reach out to you and possibly, talk real estate or just needs more help on, where they should go, what they should do, if you're willing to let them reach out, how would they contact you best?
Of course. I would love to hear from anybody. Phone calls or text are always
Okay.
the easiest. I'm definitely faster to respond to those.
Yeah.
So do I give my phone number?
Please do if you would like to.
Absolutely.
Please
Yeah.
do.
Yes. It's public. It's quite public at this
Okay.
point. So yes, my
Perfect.
phone number is 615-439-8517, and I am licensed all in Tennessee, mostly, Middle Tennessee, but I've sold 2.5 hours away in pretty much every direction. So,
Cool.
so yeah, I would love to help anybody, even if it's just advice.
Awesome. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for joining us today. Reach out to Blair if you'd like to. You will obviously enjoy chatting with her. She is awesome. Reach out to her for any real estate needs you might have, buying, selling, or if you just got questions about the market and kind of how it works. She's a great resource and doesn't mind sharing. Doesn't mean you have to do a transaction today, but give her a call and at least just get started, kind of figure out what's out there and how she can help. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.